Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.6 diesel, and it's the EX version. This particular car is registered LS13XSX, and mileage at the start of the road test is 85,554 miles. The reason we do the road test videos, as I say in all of them, is we just want customers to see the cars we're selling in operation prior to people coming to see us. We've been on the receiving end ourselves of going to see cars which we're hopefully going to buy, only to find out after many hours travelling that there was a fundamental problem with the car, which clearly was going to be obvious to us when we saw it, which we should have been told about. So that's why we do the videos. So it's a critical video. That's just by the way, that pinging just telling me it's 3 degrees centigrade outside, so it's quite chilly this morning. So yeah, so we, that's the reason we do the videos. So I do criticise the vehicles. If there's something not right, you do get to know about it. I've done it on many of my previous videos. So be assured that if there's something obvious, you will get to know. Road tests are also done on the same very quiet roads just outside our premises, which gives you an idea of just how quiet it is on our test drives here. So starting with the car, it's been well looked after, just been serviced by ourselves as well. Engine starts absolutely instantly, very smooth, very quiet, very even idle on the car. There's no warning lights on the vehicle at all. It's been running now for well over half an hour. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it wants to be on a Honda car as well. Engine pulls really well. It's a very good unit, these, and this is a fantastic example. To differentiate between this and a lower mileage one, I can't. It feels exactly the same as one that's done 20,000 miles, but it pulls really nicely. They're also unbelievably economical. It's a really efficient engine. Obviously it's zero road tax, or was at the time of the budget, which I can't remember whether they've changed it on this one or not, but it was zero prior to that anyway. But yeah, a wonderful unit. Obviously cam chain driven, so there's no cam belts on these cars, so you've got no big service looming on these engines at all. Engine then feeds through clutch and into gearbox. Clutch on the car, smooth, positive, nice actuation, utterly silent going in and out. There's no change in engine note when the clutch is engaged or disengaged, and the bite point is exactly at the right point on the clutch pedal travel as well. Clutch then feeds into the Honda 6-speed gearbox. One of their great strengths, of course, is gearboxes on cars. The quality of gear change is pretty much second to none. They're absolutely fantastic. It's got a nice defined gait to it. It's almost impossible to get lost in the gear change. I'm just changing for fun, just showing how easy it is, but it's just a kind of a snick action, very short in throw, but it feels really mechanical. It feels, it's a very well done gearbox. In stark contrast to some which use the same as this cables to go to the gearbox, and they can just feel lifeless and vague. But this is the absolute polar opposite of that. But it's very precise indeed, and actually really rewarding to use. But I can't detect any wear in it at all. There's, in the linkage or anything else, all the synchromesh is absolutely perfect. So in terms of the powertrain of the vehicle, absolutely spot on. You cannot fault it. I don't know whether I mentioned, but I should have mentioned, there's absolutely no warning lights on the dashboard at all. Just give the brakes a bit of a shove in a second, so I'm going to turn right. So I'll leave it a little bit later than normal. But the brake pedal's nice and solid. What I'm looking for on that initial part of the brake pedal movement is if there's any kind of pulsing or juddering coming through from the brake pedal at all, but there's nothing on there at all, so it's all in very good order. Steering of the car, given the fact that I am actually not a huge fan of electric power steering, this is one of the better systems to give it credit. It's actually got kind of a weight about it. Tracks bullet straight. There's no vibrations coming back through the steering wheel at all. But it's very precise, it's very quick, but not so quick it's alarming. but it works brilliantly with the chassis. These are really, really dynamic and good fun cars to drive. You can sort of hustle them along if you want, for if you're in the mood. But it drives beautifully. The difference between this and the previous generation, of course, is that they modified the suspension bushing and mounts, and it's now got a very, very comfortable ride, very smooth riding, but it's lost none of the agility of the previous model, but gained a lot in comfort. And I can't hear any strange noises coming from underneath. When it hits bumps, there's no kind of mechanical noises or metallic noises resonating through, which suggests again everything's in very good order underneath. Looking around inside the car, these are beautifully, beautifully made cars. There's not a squeak or a buzz or trim rattle, and bear in mind it's not, I think it was -2 when I got this morning, so cars tend to rattle more when they're cold, before everything expands, but this is absolutely silent. This is, and I keep saying it on these videos, but it's true, this is real world build quality. Genuinely, it infuriates me when I read sort of car magazines doing road tests of cars, and they do the same old thing every single time. They road test a Honda Civic, pitch it against something like a Focus, and it beats that, and it's better built, but obviously the Golf is going to be the better built. It's a nicer car, it feels more solid. The fact is, in the real world of motoring many years down the line, this is where build quality is measured, not when they're brand new and straight off the production line. And this is brilliantly built and better built than its competitors. There's no two ways about it. We don't have the kind of the trim issues with Civics that we do with other manufacturers. It's as simple as that, and it feels as new to drive, in every sense, not just the mechanicals but the feeling of the interior, but all working beautifully. Heated seats work really well. Sat nav system, nice high up display, very easy to use. And then the best part of course is this two-tier dashboard, which I think is a stroke of genius. Up high you got a digital readout for your speed, so when I'm looking at the car in front, which I can see in the distance, I can also see at the corner of my eye very clearly the speed I'm going, so I'm not taking my eyes off the road to take in the speed to keep my license intact, but putting other road users at risk by doing so. But it's fantastic. It works brilliantly. Everything's working as it should on the dashboard. Below that you've got a more conventional pod of 3 gauges. Obviously the centre one, big rev counter, dead easy to see, then temperature gauge and fuel gauge on either side, but everything in the car working exactly as it should, and it drives beautifully. The point of the video was to pick up on any issues on the car. I can't find a single thing that merits any kind of mention at all. It drives fantastically well. It really, really does. Obviously, however, if I've missed anything on the video, then don't hesitate to give me a call, and I'll happily answer any questions you might have about the car.